Okay, looks like everything is working. Okay, let's go ahead and return on our BGM now. Okay, now for introductions. Salut Terence, everyone. This is Terence here. And today I'm joined here with Tyrant G, and we're doing a Genshin Impact tier list. Oh wait, I don't think I can hear you at all, actually. Weird, because I was testing out my headset. Oh yeah, let me go ahead and then unmute. There we go, I'm unmute now. Yips. Yep. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't hear you, buddy. Oh yeah, let me see if I can adjust the, if my speakers are correct. Yep, they're still the Realtek ones. Volume mixer, okay. Usually when I have this problem, it's usually Discord. Okay, Discord's volume's max though. Is it the headset? Okay, let's test it out then. Alright, mic check. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yep, can't have a Vtuber stream without scoff, folks. But I guess we can just pretend that they're mute for now. So yeah. For those of you who don't know who this is, Tyrant G here. They mostly stream on Twitch. For the most part. Let me move you a little close. A little bit farther away. There we go. As for what they stream is, that's up to them. Do. Ah, looks like that thing's there. I wonder if he's ADM. Yep, figured. Okay. Okay. Okay, no real checks right there. Oh wait, I do have the BGM on, don't I? I probably don't, because knowing me. Nope, you don't have it on, okay. Let's fix that. Oh, actually you do. I think OBS is getting pretty laggy today. Lower the volume a bit. That way it doesn't overpower you. So yeah, chat, how's everyone doing today? Hope you're all having a lovely day. We're just waiting for Tyrant here to fix their audio problems. Unless, frickin'... Unless there's something on my end that's kinda weird. Gain. Oh wait, why am I using that? Desktop audio. Filters, okay. Huh. Wait, there's no gain coming out this thing? Okay, how about we start leaving and entering the call again and see if that'll work. Okay. Oh, here it is. Disconnect. Alright, now reconnect. Doo-doo-doo. Okay. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Oh yeah, it's pretty much because they're not talking. Yeah, otherwise green circles would appear. But it's all good. Also, I don't have a very long loop on this BGM, folks, so I hope you guys don't mind that. But yeah, folks, we were supposed to do this at 1 o'clock, but my friend here ended up oversleeping during the club, and then we had to reteach him how to set things up, so it's all good. But I think they originally wanted to do it around 3, but I think that might have been too soon, but that's okay though. It's all good. Time zones are a thing. Late time zones, of course. But I still can't hear you, by the way. Let me change my set. See if I can change the settings here. Voice and video, speakers, real tech. Okay, yep. Okay, everything's still the same. Do-do-do. Alrighty then. How about we go watch a crappy video, folks? Just to test out, just to show you guys that I'm not crazy. My headset is plugged in. Yeah, there's some more fun facts for you guys. Oh, hey lady, how's it going? Oh, wait, what the hell? Wow, I don't think you have a face. Oh. Well, now it wants to start acting up? Jeez. You were just fine a couple hours ago. What's up, man? Oh, you're wearing some VR goggles? Okay, there we go. Oh, it's no wonder why you couldn't see me. Okay. Back to our actual page. Do. There we go. Yips. Oh, I guess he probably doesn't have my audio set it up on his OBS then. That probably might be it. Oh, let me check the DM. If he sent me any DMs. Well, I'll send him this one then. And hello, Neko, Miko, and Luna. Welcome to the stream. How are you? Hope you're doing all right. As for myself, my day has been relatively chill. Pretty much finished watching Vinland Saga, the first season, and now we're finally on to season 2 of it. It's just me, Neko. I need to delete the Luna part. I keep forgetting it. Ah, I see, I see. Understandable, of course. I hope you change that soon. I have one day to change that, and I hate that. Wait, I mean... Yeps. I wonder if my speakers are... Oh. If my speakers switched around. Nope, there's still the Realtek ones too. Okay. Yep. Yeah. I'm also just doing some technical checks myself while we wait for Tyron to fix his stuff.
Hello?
Hello, there you are. I can hear you now.
All right, it's back in action, folks.
Yep, welcome. All right, can you go ahead and begin your introductions, please?
Oh,
yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Down.
This is Time G. I became zero. My name is actually Dio, but I transformed myself, turned into Lysandra Dragon. But please, just call me Lysandra in my normal form, of course.
Yep. Of course.
But I became Dragon. But please just call me Lysandra for the meantime being, because my model has not yet released in the public yet.
Yep. Sounds good. And yeah.
Oh. Okay, sorry. So what are we having anyway?
I hate the new
Sorry.
Oh, yep, I was just reading chat. Yep, today we're doing a Genshin Impact tier list here.
Yes, Genshin Impact's tier list. Ooh, this is very interesting for me. Because for those of you who don't know, I did play Genshin Impact in my playthrough while it's not on camera, but I post some other videos on my YouTube channel, which I only got an Ayaka and Hutao story.
Ah, nice. As for me, I'm pretty much past the whole leeway stuff, and we have not gone to Inazuna yet. So that's pretty much the extent of my Genshin knowledge, but we did manage to get to Sumiru, though. Which that wasn't blocked up by an ocean!
What? Wait, what? What's going on? Come on.
Yes.
Is your audio alright?
It's fine.
You scared me there.
That was a nice little reaction right there.
Uh-huh.
Alright then, folks. How many of you guys played Genshin before?
Yeah. Is anyone else that's played Genshin Impact prior to version 3.6?
Yep. How many hours in Genshin?
I haven't gone to the Stories of Mirrors event yet.
How many hours in Genshin? I want to say probably around 30, I guess.
30 hours a week. I only play for gachas.
Right. Oh, so you pretty much do the real simping, huh?
Uh-huh. That's what I am. I am a gacha dragon. Well, I thought myself I was a gacha dragon.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Understandable, of course. Alright, folks, so I think we're gonna be going through left all the way to right and be ranking Genshin characters into D tier, which is the lowest, C, pretty much below average.
Less bad. B tier is actually average, which is normal for either of us. No, it's based on what we're okay. From our tier list, it's only based what we do on our appearance, how the characters you pulled, how viable you use in the playthrough, and also how the character related to you. So actually, B tier is actually normal. A was actually okay, was cute, good, but very usable, but not much.
Yeah,
not
B
much.
is
And S tier
pretty
is
much
perfect.
average. Yep, and S is perfect, of course.
Perfect. Yes. Correct. So what do we? So is there any questions or any tier list you want to know?
Let's see. No real questions except for the Inazuma characters, of course. Because I don't know most of that cast.
So you haven't gone to the story yet? Did you play
nope.
Okay.
But I have been on the Archon quest, so you know. So it's all good.
Okay.
Alright, I think starting off we got Aether here. Which,
Okay. Aether. It's,
Aether.
I think I would go in between Aether and Lumin together, because they are the twins, and you use them in the very, very part of the game.
Of course. So
okay, you first. What are your comments about Aether? You used Aether in the game. On what design, on how you use him in the playthrough, how much viable it is of his skills. In between, prior to Sumeru, he gained access to wind, earth, thunder, and now wood, grass. So, reactions.
Yes. I think, that alone makes, Aether here automatic S tier. As well as, Lumiere.
Yes. Lumiere has a good design, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Of course. Mostly because, you spend the entirety of the game playing as them, and when you do go through the intro, well, you do end up playing as one or the other. And that still hasn't reached any kind of conclusion yet, but usually around opposite sides. And you pretty much get attached to them a bit more than most of the other cast.
Yeah. Likewise, for me, Aether and Lumen are are actually the same person, but after I use them in playthroughs, they're not as viable in more as well the story. I mean, changing your I don't know call this. Changing your elements is fun and cool, but they're kind of like more the supporters than just an attack than just hitting them with differences.
Yep,
But
yep.
its design likewise they're actually pretty good. But I would say it more likewise I like Lumen more than Aether because she has a pretty good design. The yellow hair combined with the white silky dress looks pretty nice. Well, Aether is some of the cool looking one, which I honestly I kind of dislike a little bit, but it gets more bonus points because of his voice actor, Zach.
Of course.
And to me, it's really good. I kind of he has a good role. I did watch his stream most of the time, but otherwise, in more viabilities, it's okay. It's balanced. They're not like OP, overpowered enough.
Yep.
So, and to be say, I will put Aether and Lumen on the B tier. They're actually somewhat good, but not always more supportive because you always use them as your guidelines, and like you get contact with you have to through your story between relationship with other units or characters you like hanging out the units or something. But it's pretty much the do they thing. Want to connect with other characters, do something you like, and you have to get to know them better as you progress the story. So yeah, so both Lumen, I'm gonna put Aether and Lumen on B tier for me.
I see. Understandable. For me, I kind of don't play the game exactly like that. I mostly just beef up one character and stick with that one.
Right.
Alright, next up is our other guy here. I forget his name.
Yeah.
He's another blonde.
Is that Albedo?
Yeah, I think it's Albedo, yep.
Okay, Albedo in design, he looks okay. Not much to say about it because he lives around in the snowy areas of on Mondstadt, and likewise, I just don't like him at all. I mean, he likes alchemy and some things. Sometimes he's not really talkative to other people around Mondstadt. But to be honest, he's somewhat really relatable because to be honest, spoiler alert, but he was married to someone else from Mondstadt. People says that it's better off to pair it up with Sucrose because they work together as an alchemist. But to be honest, he is married to someone else in Mondstadt. But I will let you know when we do the progress. In most in gameplay otherwise, I don't use Albedo in most trials because his abilities are somewhat okay. Geos, in my opinion, are kind of supporting air like you're using your stat pen and or what you're using, and is there's okay. He gives a lot of elements or use him on a smile this. So character designs B, his personality the B. The character is kind of like a B plus. And yeah, that's all I think about the design.
Alright, just because I don't know too much about you, Alberto, I'll put you in C tier.
Yeah. Okay, I'll be there. Well, I'll let you know likewise.
Yips.
What we through.
And here we have Amber here.
Amber, okay. Amber, I like her already. Amber very early in game, but
yeah, you're consistently cutting out.
Get them in the first start in the other better is really difficult. Like Kaya, Amber, and Lisa in general. But it's just really like 4 stars are so low in game because as you progress in the game, there are a lot of using clothes. But the truth is that the better those 3 early are very difficult. You will get the concentration rate, but they're so weak. And I think it's really bad for holders to every stage just so you can attach character really well. Like enjoy the game, but the installation is so hard to grind. Like write other projects to get them very viable in every playthrough. Like some attach to them, but you're not strong until you increase your stats. It's like yes, you level up. So that's also the reason why most players do not use on the earlier part of the game, and you get the game, and then you this. They're not very viable in your playthrough game. So this, but on Amber, I really like her design. I think it's like red calling just the doll looking one. It's like
Yeah, Ching is my favorite and cutest. Oh, that's good to know, name.
Yeah, she's something to be a mascot of Genshin Impact.
Alright, I'm gonna put Amber around A tier, I think.
Okay,
actually, how about B tier?
A tier. I go low A tier. But it's very what design was great, but the usage her be bad. You want to serve after a while. If in the game wanted everybody to while, I said go for it. But me, you're gonna have to find a lot. You need to work on framers, make mildly educate in every playthrough, as I mentioned.
Right.
So that's all I can know about Amber, and let's move on to another character, shall we?
Yep, yep, I like Amber mostly because I like her design as well as her one of the very few bow characters there. But there are better ones though, so you know. That's why she's big. Alright, next up is Ayaka.
Oh my god! I'm really sorry to go like very early on. You know how much I thought a lot. I used her 71 playthrough. I used her in most storyline. My main attacker. Good for defense. You better go on as a defense. I love her story. I love her voice acting, both English and Japanese voice actor. And what makes me like more that I get like very early days in the game. I put her first year anniversary of the game, and then I took Imogen to get her so easily. I can tell how much I do care about a lot more than it of the tier list. So in my both, it's as personalization tests were easy. Even though you got even though you didn't get to see one thing from a bottle, zero is very good about her talents. So my advice, you can be very much every playable and every one you get to do is Zoom. Get like Aika so much early on. I can tell most of the very bosses in the game, and like okay, every bosses, but not all bosses that are high.
Yeah, I feel
Mistake.
a little bad.
But and I'm sorry, sir. And every deal, if you get okay, if someone else who doesn't like Kai a name, you honestly must why in the play because should be very useful, especially if you use quite to walk through water and like something you can just go through water and you can reach. And so like guys, I care about Aika a lot, so I always put any as here. Anyone else who is in for Aika, I'm on the team.
Alright, sounds good, sounds good. I guess based on that description, I'll go ahead and put Ayaka on A tier. I mean, S.
Why? I mean, why do you put him in the A tier? Is there a reason why you...
I changed it to S, by the way.
most likely S tier, but for someone who still didn't get Ayaka, you can get her right away because in compared to version 3.6,
I'd say I liked
the game.
Ayaka mostly because when I saw the preview video on her on the Genshin, she actually had a really nice story that I could have related to a little bit.
Stories, backstories, of course.
Yep.
How she is part of Nami's clan, should be responsible one. Plus, she's so attached. She's so attached to the main characters, with Ada and Lumen. And like, she's very cute and very beautiful, and at the same time. Okay.
Yep, hey Jose, welcome to the stream.
Oh, hello there.
Yeah.
So yeah, any your comments about Ayaka? What's the reason why you put him in A tier?
Well, I moved her to S tier, but it's mostly just for the story. I don't really know how she plays since I never used her, so I'm just going by that and that alone.
Well, if you use Ayaka a lot in your playthrough, you probably want to move her to S. Trust me on using Ayaka, guys. It's pretty much viable. She'd be viable on every playthrough as you go through Sumeru. So, are we done with
Yep.
Are we done with commenting about Ayaka?
Of
And
course.
Let's move on. Let's move on to the character show.
All right,
The next
next
one.
up is Barbara.
Okay, so what I discussed about the Albedo earlier as we gone through the live stream, you are probably know that both Albedo and Barbara, they were dating they were actually dating in real life. I really amazed how those two work together as a team. I love how the communication, even though they were not in the game, but they were really in love each other. And to be honest, Barbara is actually possibly the cute character in the game. Like, you can get Barbara very early on once you finish the Archon quests from Mondstadt, and then if you use her in your rival playthroughs, it's not much of a physical attacker, but she's somewhat of a healer. Every player needs a healer on your team. And Barbara, in my opinion, is somewhat very usable. She's the only. If you pull out too many Barbaras in the game, she'd be very viable if you level up her constellation and her talents, which to me, it's really great. And her even though she's a catalyst, you're not much use her on your team if you want just have to continuously healing up your party, if you don't want to let her just get on her, not let her get an attack, and you must honestly just have to use her skill, switch up, and then go healing them on. But if your character has low HP, you can just use her burst and just heal a lot of your team period. So her viability is somewhat A, its design is actually A, and her backstory and her event story behind her sister, spoilers, it's okay. It's heartwarming and really enjoys me a lot as Barbara as I got through along. So if anyone using Barbara on your team, you are really likable that Barbara is such a versatile character, but not much of a versatility every playthrough. So what are your comments about Barbara in general after you got her in the game?
She's super cute. Really great healer, of course. I haven't gone through her backstory quite yet, but she definitely is very cheerful. Kind of like the idol of Mondstadt, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah,
even though she's pretty. Yep. So yeah, I think I'm gonna put her at the A tier.
I also go with an A tier. Not much to sell about Barbara's design, how much we thought about Barbara, but to be honest, it's a very good stable for every earlier players who want to use Barbara in the game. So
Yips.
So what constellation do you have with Barbara? I mean, you get her very early in the game, and there are a lot of gotcha. There are many times that Barbara has seen every gotcha banner's playthrough. So how many times that? So did your Barbara has reached to constellation 6? I mean, what constellation that you have now? What level is that?
I don't quite remember, but if I have to go back and check, it probably might be around 2 or 3.
Okay, 2 or 3, but I managed to get Barbara to 6 very early, very easily. So much weird to me because I keep getting Barbara many times that she was pulling her in the banner. It really annoys me, but it's very important just to boost up her skill just to make more viable. And that's all that much else to say about Barbara, in my opinion. So what are yours?
Well, not much to say about Barbara other than she's cute and very bubbly. And a really good healer.
Yes.
And I think next up we have a black-haired chick with like a red bank.
I don't know. Do you know? I want to know, what is the red bang? What is the bang? Like Diluc?
Not Diluc, but we can start with Diluc though.
Oh, I don't know what you're doing, but
I'm going from left to right.
wait! I see it, and the one it's Beidou, right?
Okay,
yeah.
This is Beidou, okay.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. I've used Beidou very, very many times. I'm using her in most of my playthrough as I progress. And Beidou is somewhat very, very good. Its design aspect is very awesome. The constellation was great. Her skills were awesome. Plus, her trait lets you swim. Can reduce your stamina while you're swimming. If you've been swim too much while Beidou's on your team, she can be very, very usable. Like you have your less time of getting yourself drowned, but if you can somehow just get escape through in a shorter period of time, she can be very, very usable. Plus her skill, it's kind of like a counterattack. If your enemy hits you, they'll hit you back. You're getting stronger. And plus her burst, it gains you electro damage around it. Every time she uses a burst skill, it creates electric shield that deals you electro damage. Even if you're switching out, you can still deal electro damage to it. But to be fair, Beidou's design was amazing. I love how the stable and mature and cool-looking woman who can cross the high through seas, and I don't understand how many people just shipping between her and Yingguan. Their stories, they're kind of like more competitive to see who's better, who's not, and I still don't get how their two get to work well around in Liyue, and I don't know. I'm not much getting along with these two. They're like more competitive rather just than getting along well, just getting to ship together. But I just don't understand. I completely don't understand their shipping, But if you gotten somehow to get her up to her constellation 6, she can be very usable in some of the playthroughs. It was not as better as Raiden Shogun, but if you want to use her as in as you progress, she can be very viable. Counterattacking is the most important thing in the game because you really want to focus on it. You really don't want to let your units die for no apparent reason. But with Beidou on your team, she can be very usable of all time. She can deal you a lot. It's just as long as she's on your team, she can wreck a lot of your opponents out of her way.
Yep.
So, character-wise, it's A. Her playthrough, her design was S. Her relationship is kind of S, and her viability was an S. So, I will immediately put her as an S. I will not put her below Ayaka, higher than Ayaka, but I always put her as an under S tier.
Alright, I'll go ahead and put you on the S tier along with Aether, Lumiere, and Icon then.
So what are your thoughts about Beidou? Have you not used her in your playthrough?
Oh, I know next to nothing about Beidou.
It seems you're not doing so well with Beidou, even after you got her.
I never got her at all.
But if someone else in the stream let you know if you use Beidou in your own playthrough, please just do it right away. Trust me on this. With Beidou, you can just wreck everything with just wreck everything if she's on your team. And there's not much else to say about Beidou's design or thoughts about it.
Yep, Beidou has a nice design. I'll say that much about her. She has the very Dommy Mommy vibes going for her.
Eyes on me! Yeah!
Right. Alright, next up we have Bennett, which I do know about.
Bennett! Ooh, the unlucky one. He's the unlucky 4-star user, which is so very usable in a Spiral Abyss. Yeah. He's a very unlucky person. Now, I don't have much time to discuss about Bennett in design, but he's somewhat cool looking, yet he's not very unlucky. He's not a very lucky guy if you know about his story and his hangout. But in Spiral Abyss, he can be very, very useful to him. Like, Bennett is also be a part of every gacha banners out there, and if you get him access to this Constellation 6, you can get to use him in some of your Spiral Abyss playthroughs. If you want to grind up your team just to get the rewards, and yeah, I think he's as a sword user, he's somewhat good, but you often use his burst and his skill, even though his skill is somewhat very difficult to master it because you have a random chance. It's all based luck, and likewise, he's okay. It's quite all right if you use him in the right way. If you somehow manage to use him in any of your team. So, its character design is A, his backstory is alright, and his versatility in a team would much be more stable if you use him in a Spiral Abyss. So, in my opinion, I was gonna put Bennett around A, because I did met the voice actor of Bennett. Like, to be fair, I did see her in actual live. I really care about her voice lines, and her with Bennett, it's all right. I'm cool looking adventurer. Yeah, I kind of like. I can't believe how a girl can somewhat be voiced by a cuter guys or cute boys in other ways. So,
in my experience with that comment, I know about Naruto, of course. We also know about female voice actors voice acting little boy characters.
You're goddamn right.
Of course. But yeah, as for my take on Bennett, I think he's a little bit on the generic side in my opinion. But I do really like his little elemental burst skill, which is actually like a sword combo kind of thing that he does. Also, I do kind of like his outfit and design. He does have a very typical shonen protagonist kind of vibes to him. Especially with the goggles. The goggles remind me a lot of Digimon. Early season Digimons, yep.
Oh dear.
And I think from designs and alone and all that other stuff, I think I'll put you on the A tier list.
Same, A tier.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's all. That's all that we can say about Beto's design or his story and his likewise. But let's move on to the next character, shall we?
Yep. Next up, we have the blue-haired boy.
Is this Shinkyu? My guess.
Yep.
Or Chongyu?
Yep. The light blue hair, wearing all the white.
Oh, Chongyu. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. In regards to Chongyu's design, it's pretty good. I know he's somewhat of exorcist-like, but it's not much great about what I describe about him. He looks somewhat to be a kind of fancy-looking guy who is fighting for two enemies, but he's somewhat to be not a little clumsy on the other side. And to be fair, that he and Shinkyu pretty much most common ways, getting along well, getting along together in Liyue. But what I understand about Chongyu's specifically is it's how he was somewhat to be what is good or what is right, of what he made choices in his life, and then using him in his usable playthrough, you probably have some difficulties with Chongyu. And as a Claymore, it's fine, but his skills and bursts, it's somewhat common. He's more much of a supporter than just an attacker, And I haven't used Chongyu for a long time because I have a lot of very, very, very good cryo characters in the game, so I don't have the time to use Chongyu in a playthrough. So his story is okay, and his versatile is so good, but his skill is alright in B tier. But overall, I'm gonna put Chongyun in B tier with Albedo, because I'm sorry guys, I don't get to use Chongyun very early, but I don't have a hard time getting to use him. I don't have sentimental attached with Chongyun, but I just can tell that he is not much usable in the game. If you care about Chongyun, I say go for it. But for me, using Chongyun takes a long time to get to know him well. You can talk to Chongyun in the hangouts, but I don't have the time to about his backstory, how did he manage to become an exorcist for the Liyue, and I just don't get scenes that is above my head.
I see. Alright then. I think with all that said, I'll go ahead and put Chongyu in the B tier as well.
Okay.
My take on Chongyu, just for his design alone, I actually really like it. Just for the hair, as well as the somewhat Chinese aesthetic he has with his outfits. And I also do think he looks pretty cool wielding a claymore, because as a fan of shonen protagonists, it's always cool to see really small characters wielding really big swords and MMOs. And I think as far as his story goes, I don't know much about the story, but he seems, judging from the cutscenes I've seen, he seems to be one of those very earnest and diligent kind of characters, I think, who was one of those by the book, follow the rules kind of guys, I think. So I think that alone, just for that kind of personality, it kind of goes a bit mid in my opinion. So, but I do really like Claymore characters, so
Yeah. I mean, we don't get to use Chonghyun really well, but we take a long time to get to know him better. That's in short, by the way.
Yep.
All right, let's move on.
All right, next up is Diluc. I don't know if I've been saying his name wrong the whole time, but yep. Diluc from the early game. Diluc.
How does anyone who likes Diluc a lot? Okay, first off, Diluc was introduced in the game, but he's kind of like a cold-looking character who also doesn't talk too well with other people. They someone to be a dark hero in his story quest, but he's okay though. He's not much talkative. Doesn't go well with other characters, but to be fair, in his philosophy, he's only what is do is best for his people in his Mondstadt. But for him, for obtaining Diluc is just not viable as he is better. Is not likewise in his as the game goes on, and then getting Diluc would not be not viable if you use him too much, since he's a 5-star unit. But in most likewise, Diluc's his skills and his burst, it's okay. But
Yes.
But getting him into Fyro, it's not very likable to use him in the playthrough. Since he is a Claymore user, you have other options to get there are other better Claymore users in the early part of the game. But getting him is not as good. His traits and his verse is alright, but it's not viable when you obtain him in a playthrough. And to be fair, Diluc's design was great. I like his backstory a lot, but obtaining him is very awful. It's very irritating for me to get. I don't know why he was added in the standard list, in the standard banner. I don't know much else to say about Diluc. His viability in a playthrough. So likewise, I'm sorry guys, I'm gonna put Diluc in a D tier because you have a lot of options of pyros in the game, like Amber and Xiangling, but I'll get more into Xiangling after that. So what are your thoughts about Diluc? So what about you? What are your thoughts about Diluc as you know, but as you got through him in your playthrough?
Ah, yes. My thoughts on Diluc is that he was pretty much one of those really cool characters who was pretty much portrayed as really cool and badass when you first introduce him, especially when in his first encounter with Kaya, of course. And I think when we did go ahead and finally start using him, I actually started liking him a little bit more than some of the other Claymore characters, which around my playthrough, I only had like Noelle, pretty much my only character around that time. Yep. And then when I kind of saw the burst, and his burst was actually kind of like a combo, whereas Noelle was like a little spin kind of thing, I definitely kind of started gravitating a bit more to Diluc's combat style opposed to Noelle. So I'd say just for combat, that design, as well as a great story, I think I'm gonna go ahead and put him on A tier. But
Okay.
why he's not on S, mostly because his character is a lot like Batman. Anime Batman right there. So it's nothing I haven't seen before.
So if anyone who dares like Diluc, I say it's fine. You get a lot of cool, you are into the cool guys, but to me, he was in the D tier for my reasons. I don't like it, and I know some of you just try to hate me for hitting on Diluc on the D. Okay, I'm sorry, guys.
We're all entitled to our opinions, as long as we don't get attacked for them. Alright, next up on our list. So far, I don't think I had too many bad characters. But yes, next up on our list is Diana, or Diana, the cat girl.
Was Diana?
Yep.
Oh, Diana. Oh, okay. Diana it's very cute. I really like her. She is the daughter of the cat. She was in a pub in the Mondstadt, and I don't understand how she is. I don't understand how the design is. The design is somewhat to be cute. It's very cute. I really love cats, and she's more likable to teams, but for some reason that a lot of people really disregard for Diana's design. It's somewhat not likable for having a cat-like character with a strange what do you call this? Walmart haircut. I don't know how many people describe about her hair, but design is great. I like her aesthetic so much. It's pretty much a smaller character. You just want to run through a lot, and the running animation it's very cute. Not like most of the smaller characters out there in the game.
Mm-hmm.
However, her viability in a playthrough is somewhat alright though. If you somehow got Diana on your team, you're not very much likely to be an attacker, but more than just a supporter. I mean, she can creating shields, and her burst gets a healing circle, which gains a lot of recovery. But having her as a cryo archer, it's okay though. It's not much of a very good combo, so a staple on your team. But if you somehow like between Barbara and Diana, I say it's alright. It's okay. You have the option between using her as an hydro or a cryo healer, or a cryo healer. But they much likely rather use her as a supporter than just an attacker. And if you want to heal her, it's fine. But if you somehow manage to consolidate her into 6 and early on, I think she is somewhat better in the Spiral Abyss. And I mean to say, I like her design. I like her backstory, and she has somewhat a hard time with her father. And then you get someone annoys her for being too stubborn. I mean, if you talk to her about drinks or something, they have somewhat to be she's often putting a lot of mixture in her food or drinks, and sometimes she wanted her drinks to be scared off the customers. But the downside, every time she drank her drinks, they somewhat laggable, and she just have a hard time running away. She just want to drag her off her customers. So likewise, the customers are saying her drinks are great, but Diana and likewise really hate her mixture. I mean, she has some good mixture in her blood because her father was drunken, and yet Diana, in my opinion, it's not more annoyance than other people. I know I get that Fischl and Diana are very annoying, talking like they're not annoying characters as Paimon, but to me, in my heart, Diana is somewhat a very, very cute character. It's very understandable for me to know her story well, and it's really heartbreaking for me because I really love Diana. Just want to have her normal life in a bar, but I don't understand how people annoys her in the game. But if you want to know her better, it's very important just to interact her in a cool way, in a fun-loving way. Just to try to relax Liza Diana, and somehow that you get to use the character very later on. So I'm gonna put Diana in an 8 tier behind Amber. So there's not much about Diana's design, but likewise, it's very cute, very likable. But if you can't deal with her annoyance, it will be fine. But if you get so much too close to the character, you might not get much to less annoyance the more you interact with her. So, what are your thoughts about Diona prior to obtaining her and her story and her hangouts?
I haven't done her hangouts, but as far as Diana herself, I actually find using her to be very fun. But as far as her story goes, her story's a very unique one. She's pretty much one of the very few legal lollies in the game, as far as I know. And as far as Catgirls, she's also really cute too. I like her design, and using her as a bow, and I kind of like how one of her attacks was actually kind of like a homing missile that actually homes in on people when you shoot them, of course. And I do kind of like their healing abilities as well. But as far as her character goes, she's kind of alright. A bit bratty, but it's nothing too tolerable. And me personally, I kind of find bratty characters a little bit on the mid side, so for me, I'm putting her on B tier.
Well, if your opinion for Diana, it's fine. I understand your opinions for Diana putting a B tier, but to be honest, I like her putting her to A because not much versatile than playthrough. But if you want to hang out with Diana, I think it's fine.
Yep, no problem. All right, next up is official.
Okay. So I'm going to leave this visual to you. I've somewhat seen you using visuals sometimes, but I don't know how you use visual in the game so far. So what are your reactions? What are your comments about visual? You're usable for visual in the game.
As far as visual goes, I use visual for pretty much damage and DPS, and she does it quite well once you beef her up, as well as get her some decent weapons, as well as mess around with her artifacts a bit. She's very viable for DPS. And I think as far as her designs and backstory goes, I kind of like them. I don't know much about her backstory personally, but I think from design-wise, I think she's really great. And since I don't really use that many archers in my playthrough, she's one of the better archers in my opinion. So I think as far as visual goes, I want to put her into the A tier list. And I think that's my take on visual as a whole.
Okay, to me, visual, you can for me, getting visual in my playthrough is very easy. I mean, visual, I'm not much into her, not much of her gameplay, her viability. For sometimes, prior to the early version of the Genshin Impact game, archers are very, very annoying. Like, sometimes you don't use an aim shots, you can't just move around with your phone, and you're not gonna use visual as an archer, but rather you use her as her skill. Both her skill and her burst. Because she can summon out Oz and just to deal around electro damage if he gets hits to your enemies. But if you switch out to some of your characters, he can summon around, he can help you out with your elements and burst reactions, and then you're somehow use visual as a supporter and then just an attacker. But what you said, using her as an archer is somewhat viable, but if you use her as a support character, she can be very viable in the playthrough. I mean, it's not as useful it's not somewhat useful in every bosses around, but she is somewhat staple to every bosses if you want to reaction to your enemies with just any of your character that isn't an electro user. Plus, I have watched her story, her backstory around how did she became a princess, how she interacts with her parents, how does she is how does her story between her and her friends. It's not much else. There's not much info about Fischl's design because she talks kind of like crazy. It's not as crazy to think because in the video of Pumax's YouTube story about in between Fischl and Diona, they were both annoying in their own ways, but to be fair, I think those two were not annoyance. They talk like crazy, but Fischl it's all right. She talks kind of weird to say, but us here is really how does she understand about what other people. But yes, I did get Fischl's outfit in the game, and to be honest, her new outfit was really perfect. It's much better than her usual outfit, likewise. But in my own words for Fischl, she is very very cute character. I like how it interacts with her Japanese voice actor, and like she is kind of like a Chumbio in her years, and Fischl design is somewhat perfect for her as Fischl. So I'm gonna put Fischl in below higher A with Diona and between Diona and Amber.
Yips. Understandable. Very nice, very nice.
Yes, very nice.
Alright, next up is Ganyu.
Oh, Ganyu. So, are you okay? Who's gonna give thoughts about Ganyu? Which one of us is gonna?
I think I'll go ahead and give my very quick thoughts on Ganyu out the way. She is very nice. She's very nice, very hot, and of course. Because being the simp I am.
Oh.
And of course, I haven't quite used her yet, but she seems like the mage kind of character. Yep. So yeah, she was very nice to our traveler during the whole Leeway arc, and probably one of the more supportive characters there. Apart from Zonghe as well as Tartanja. Well, Tartanja was actually a boss, but you know.
It's child, but you might probably just call him child, not Tartaglia, because just calling him his normal name is kind of difficult for some players out there. But they rather just call him child rather than Tartaglia.
Of course.
Let's move on to your Ganyu.
Yep, as far as Ganyu goes, apart from being hot and of course cute and all that stuff, I really like her design aesthetics too. And I'd say I don't quite know much about her backstory, but given how supportive she was to our main character and how very friendly she was as a whole, I kinda want to go ahead and put her. It's gonna be way too sympathetic for a guy who's never played with her, but I'm gonna probably rate it for character alone, so S tier.
What are you putting? C? Are you putting her C or B?
S tier.
Oh, come on.
Being the simp. My simp energy right there.
Okay, move on to me. Getting Ganyu in the game, it's kind of okay. I did somehow pull her 4 times in her privileges without any money. And to your ways, she's a really good character. I really like the backstory between her. How did she become a Chiling for the Leeway? She is somewhat okay. She's somewhat kind of mysterious for the Guardians of Leeway, kind of like the crane thing. How does she begins? How she wanders around the world? She's not much else. She's not much a wanderer around Leeway, but what we know that she is a mature. She was kind of like around the teenage years, to be fair. In more likely way, as she is living in Leeway, she doesn't do anything as she was a chilling or a beast. Like I don't know what I can't explain about Chilling's design, about
Mhm.
Ganyu's design, but likewise she doesn't do anything else aside from her working. That's what she does. And then
Yep.
her with Kitching is okay. They're pretty much very good a couple. They're very much likely to become like cooperate with their works in the way because they were in the works for the company that Xiangling was working on, kind of like the bank or something, but I don't know. It's kind of like business. That's what she does. But her design and story was fantastic, but her viability in the playthrough, it's okay. I'm not much else to do with Ganyu's in the battle because her skill lets you set you an area trap, kind of like Amber with her bunny, but she can just dash around and their opponents just try to area trap and whatever hits it, it deals a cryo damage. But plus her burst skill is somewhat slow because she can summon out a hailstorm that deals a lot of areas around it, and that's not much else about. There's not much an area damage for a cryo user for Ganyu. Plus, I don't get to use Ganyu after I get Ayaka, as we go on. Ganyu is somewhat very good. She can somewhat very versatile if you're up against a Mondstadt area boss, and you get to single-handedly use her in playthrough. But that's all there is to say about Ganyu in using her in an area boss. But having her as a cryo archer is kind of good. It's not much better than Diona as being a cryo archer, but she is very useful in most area bosses, not just for Mondstadt. She can be very good against Child in the Leeway, and in some of the mini bosses. It's gonna be it's somewhat to be good. It's somewhat good, like around the flower until you get essential materials. But obtaining her if you somehow evolve her, it's somewhat good. It's great. It's great to use her for having her team as a cry archer, and yeah, there's all much to say about Ganyu's overall. But I'm gonna put her to A, eligible higher in between Fischl and Diona. I'm gonna say she's very cute, but I'm not much else to say about. I'm not much usable for Ganyu after prior to my playthroughs for version 3.6. So, So in other words, I prefer if I'm gonna use a cryo on my team, I prefer Ayaka over Ganyu because I have both of them on my team, and I don't want to have more at least one cryo member on my team on a party. So yeah, sorry guys.
Ah, I see. No problem.
Alright, let's move on.
Alright, next up is Hutao.
Hutao! Oh my god! Hutao! I'm putting her as an S tier. If you have gone through the events for Hutao, you've seen her trailers, you've seen her design, her merchandise, her voice. It's really fantastic. I cannot describe about Hutao's personality, her traits, her animation. Oh, it just pierced my heart. She can pierce through a lens through on my heart. Oh.
Nice.
If you haven't gone through her story, it's kind of understandable. She works in a funeral. I like how the time is that Hutao can chasing around Chi-Chi even though she is dead.
Yes.
So, okay. Her talents and her constellation looks really great. She can somehow deal. Her skill lets you cut a minimum of HP, but if you use her burst, she can restore that much of HP if you use her. She can be very useful in a solo playthrough. And if you're gonna use a lancer, you can have a very good time with Hutao, not because of her design, her skill, but also how very usable in a playthrough. However, on the downside for Hu Tao's getting her in the gacha, it's somewhat less annoying. Prior to her debut banner, you can get Hu Tao a little much earlier in the game once you got through the leeway, but getting her, which is less annoying since her debut. I mean, yes, there have Hu Tao gets a lot of reruns in my play once I get it, but getting her is just less. It's just really annoying because I really love Hu Tao so much. I really want to have her on a team with Ayaka. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So likewise, if you've been through a lot with Hu Tao as much as I did, I'm giving you guys Hu Tao is equally the same as I did for Ayaka. Her story, her voice actor, the design, her playthroughs, her story, all of it. But not much to say about Ayaka in my opinions towards Ayaka. I mean, those two were actually really great if you use her both likewise because they are quite well together. And to be fair, Hu Tao and Ayaka were equally cute. They're very cute in their ways, but both Hu Tao and Ayaka, they're much more stable together in a playthrough. So even though she's a Lancer user, but you have a lot of options for Lancer type team. Lancer items. If you somehow got the right type of a weapon, she can be very viable. Trust me, guys. I know getting her is very annoying. As I got her as a 5-star. That takes very long time to get her. But to be fair, it's much else to work of getting her in a playthrough. So
Yep.
On to you. So what are your reactions about Hu Tao?
Hu Tao is an automatic S tier for me.
Mm-hmm. Yes!
Yep. I think that's all I'll pretty much say about that because the cuteness, her story, her design, and the way she wields her javelin,
Yes.
spear, yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's all really cute. As well as her idol animations were also cute when you were selecting her. There's not much to say about Hu Tao, she's just perfect.
Yeah, she's really perfect in my opinion, but they're equally the same as Ayaka in my tier list.
Indeed.
Alright. Moving on.
Alright, next up is Jean.
Jean. I have not much else a backstory about Jean. I have no infos about Jean's design. I know that she's the acting manager of Mondstadt. That's all I need to say about her. But Jean's design is okay. I have not much of a Jean user on a team, even though she is a 5-star win type user.
Mm-hmm.
But getting Jean as a 5-star, it's not much viable. You get to get your what's the win again? Dendro, Ariel, what is it again?
Amino.
Oh, Amino. She's a 5-star Amino team, but getting her as a 5-star is just not much viable in a team. If they somehow to get Jean as a playthrough, you get a lot of time using Jean as a 5-star. But as an Animo 5-star, it's not versatile. You get to become a 5-star Animo at the very early game, and you're not gonna have a good time getting her on your team. Plus, her skill is okay. She can blow up your opponents. You can do much things, and not only yet she is the only time I use Jean on a playthrough is in a mini battle for the It's like a defender mini game where you have to deal your enemies from behind, and then you have to somehow get the enemies out. The dread falls off, and yeah, there's not much else, and that's all in is to Jean. And there are a few things that I want to discuss about Jean's viability. Her burst is okay. It's somewhat okay. You get to heal your she can cast a circle around your areas. She can heal your HPs drastically.
Mm-hmm.
And her event, it's okay though. It's less hot, I know, but its design is okay. The blue linings with the losing more skin. It's all right. She's hotter than she was in the usual outfit. But likewise, but getting her as a 5-star is just not as good. I don't get Jean in most playthroughs because she's one of the few 5-star standard teams that I did not use, and that's why I'm gonna put Jean as a C tier because using her as a 5-star is not versatile, but there are a ton of options to get as a 4-star or 5-star 4-star animal users. but let's just move on to discuss. So let's just move on and discuss. But I'm gonna put Jean as a C tier. There's not much to do about Jean's design, her play abilities. Nothing.
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna put Gina as a D tier.
Okay, see, I get it's reasonable. Reasonable to get someone to use her. So what are your thoughts about Jean? Did you not get? So you two did not get her?
Yes. I never got Jean once. And of course, I'd say she's also one of those super diligent kind of characters who kinda talks a lot, feels responsible for everyone, but always has to lean on another person or two just to do things sometimes. So I'd say she's pretty much a bottom in my opinion. just because she's pretty much all style and no substance.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's your opinion for Jean, so
Yep.
I get that. Moving on.
All right, next up is Kaya.
Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I could put Kaya in D tier. I'm sorry. I have not much else to say. I have not much else to discuss about Kaya. No words coming out. No words coming out of my. No words coming out of my mouth. So, if anyone uses Kaya, I'm sorry, guys, but this is your opinion, and I have no words. I have no comments about Kaya's design, her stories, her looks. It's everyone's husbando, and I'm not a part of it. So I'm gonna be out. I'm just gonna have to just give it a few minutes. Just give it a few minutes while you're gonna do reactions about Kaya.
Let's see. As far as Kaya goes, Kaya's character is that he's pretty much a bit of a trickster. He likes to mess around with a lot of people, tease people, but when it's times to get serious, he always gets the job done. So he's one of those characters who likes to tease people and bully people very lightly and very casually. But as far as him as a sword wielder goes, I don't consider him as good as Aether, but he's also not that bad, and I actually really like his cryo abilities too. So as far as what I think about Kaya goes, also really like his design too, and his personalities and such. I want to put him around A tier just for his own use. And yes, he is pretty hot too.
I mean, likewise, he's a 4-star sword wielder, and after getting Ayaka, there have been a lot of people complain. There are so many complaints between Ayaka and Kaya's more viability. If you want him somehow just crossing through waters, I think Ayaka would be much better off using Kaya because she has more versatile gameplay. Likewise, Kaya, and just like I discussed with Amber, getting to a higher constellation is just really hard for much easier players and hard for experienced players in the game. So I'm gonna put Kaya like I did with D-Locus in the D tier. Not because they were brothers, but I just don't like hanging around with them. I'm sorry, guys.
Yips. Understandable. Alright, moving on. Next up, we have Kaching here.
Okay. There's been a lot of there's a lot of kinds of compliments about Kitching's design, her story, and her viability in the playthrough. Kitching, she's a standard 5-star Electro user. She has seen around with in Liyue. She was to be somewhat balancer for hanging. She's kind of like a citizen for Liyue. She's like guarding around, feeling the relaxation around her, and plus she's kind of like she is somewhat managing around, like I did mention with Ganyu, like we discussed Ganyu, and I kind of like Kitchen's design. She's somewhat to be a cat-like, very adorable character. Plus her voice actor, it's okay. It's very great. I kind of like the stoic, cool-looking girl who always wanted to stood up and fighting to defend the citizens in Liyue. It's okay. And plus her relationship with Ganyu, it's all right. They're somewhat meh, but as for their say, they like to work well together. And so yeah, I see them shipping a lot them, and I'm not much of a Kitchen user because I don't get her as a 5-star user. Plus, an Electro sword wielder, I don't think her in a place getting her would not much else as I did with the other standards. Yes, her burst skill is amazing. Plus her skill is just try to dashing around, dash or something like that. She is more dodgeable, and she is okay. She's a balancer. I don't get to you can get her using playthrough is alright though, but I don't have the chance to get Kitching as a 5-star. I don't have an explanation towards Kitching's design in it overall, but I would say I put Kitching as a B tier. And yes, there is a collaboration for the Honkai Impact 3, which is also the same developers in Genshin Impact. And then using Kitching in Honkai Impact 3 is somewhat very good. If you use Genshin in Honkai Impact 3, she is very useful in the story. I enjoy using her in that game, and I'm gonna say she is incredible as a character. But somehow, I don't know how many people I don't know how many people get Kitching in that game, but I'm gonna say that Kitching's its viability in that game is somewhat fantastic. But in Genshin Impact, but in this game, I did not have the chance to use Kitching in the game because I don't have much else staple. She's not much a staple in some of the parties if you use her. And then you are better off with other 4-star Electro user like Beidou and Fisho. But even though we have not yet entered Lisa yet, so let's discuss that. Let's discuss it in a few as we move on. So, Kitching is an Electro sword user. You got a lot of options. So, overall, I'm gonna put her in the B tier. I know there are somewhat meh. There's more consolation whether it's an A or S tier. I know there are people they're sim for her, but for me, I just could put her in a B tier overall.
Yep. I'll go ahead and do the same. As for my thoughts on Kitching, I didn't quite get to know her that well, but from the Liyue storyline, she definitely kind of one of those people who didn't really believe in gods and such, but she always wanted to fight for her people and such. So I kinda like that aspect of her. She's kind of a tomboyish, kind of a go-getter kind of personality, it seems like. But I think as a sword wielder, I think she's also pretty good too from what I've seen from other people using her. So as far as Electro characters goes, I think she's one of the better ones, I think. So yeah, go ahead, put her in B. Keep her in B.
Agreed.
All right, next up we have Klee.
Klee. So, in my words that describes Klee, she's cute. I've seen many people like Klee's a lot of design, but I don't have much else to discuss about Klee's design much in the playthrough. I mean, yeah, her burst is all right. Like, I like her throwing up bombs of her bag. She's a pyro catalyst user, and she's a 5-star. And as many people, they should know that getting 5 stars is just annoying if you have a lot. If you can't for a free to play players out there. So, even though she's a pyro catalyst user, her design was cute. Both voice actors were very cute. Her viability was great, but obtaining her is just not good, because Klee, in my opinion, is one of the few 5-star characters that is not limited. She was there was not a permanent. She was a limited user as she was debut in the game. So I don't know how many people just use Klee's design, but I'm not sure if they want to use Klee in a playthrough. I mean, she is very cute. It's a mascot, but I don't know how many people just don't know how to use Klee very well, and getting her is just not through balancing through free-to-play players, but often using a pay-to-win players. If they want to use Klee, sure. If they want to pull for Klee, I say go for it. But others, this is not worth it, because even though she's a 5-star pyro user, you have lots of options for 4-star players as we go through. So Klee, in my opinion, I'm gonna put it with C tier with Jean. I know that she's very cute overall, but getting her 5-star is just not good. It's not worth it. Not worth the time.
Okay. All right. For my take on Klee, she, other than the fact that she's very cute and I like her design, I kind of liked her little attack methods of throwing bombs, of course. Her burst skill is also really cool, and I also liked her charge attack too, where she actually charges up and uses a little laser and blows people up. One of the cutest things ever. She's pretty much a walking massive destruction. Don't be fooled by her cuteness. So I think as far as her personality goes, it's kind of not too different from Diana's in my opinion. But I think Diana's story is also kind of better than hers, in my opinion, of course. So I want to say I'm gonna put her in the B tier along with Diana and Pitching. Very great character, though.
You're a B tier, but I'm putting Klee as a C tier. I have no comments for Klee in whatsoever. But let's just continue what we're getting at.
Alright, TDNs. Next up is our next Dommy Mommy here, Lisa.
Oh, Lisa. Oh, I think I'm not gonna lie. Lisa, in my opinion, she has a wonderful design. Not because she was obtainable very early in the game, but sometimes Lisa is not versatile in a playthrough. Yes, her charging skill is good, and her skill and burst are somewhat to be good, but they often not use Lisa in most playthroughs because she's a 4-star electro type user, and then as we discussed earlier, you have a ton of options for supporting type use, supporting unit in the game. Like, yes, she's a catalyst user, but you're much better off to use a physical electro catalyst user like Fischl and Beidou. They have better electro damage skills than as Lisa. Like, as she is much versatile if you want to pair up with a Hydro user that you electrocutes. Then that's how her story is, and her is an viable, in my opinion. Getting her her as a catalyst user is not much a most versatile in most playthroughs. Okay, yes. And okay, yes, Lisa is a very, very good character. Her design was amazing, and as I have follow through her events where she has her outfit like how she was used to study around the Sumeru, and then her outfit was great. I really liked the design. The green outfits, the mixture between the purple and green is pretty aesthetic because she was once studying in Sumeru, and then most likely because everyone say that Lisa is very, very hot, but in most playthroughs, it's not very well. You much rather put Lisa as your waifu, not your playthrough. So overall, I'm gonna put her as in below A tier. And yes, she has a wonderful voice actor. I really love her voice acting. She was really good, especially in the Japanese voice acting where she does like la la and something like that. I don't want to discuss about it in this stream,
Right.
but I'm gonna say to put Lisa is an A tier list. But likewise, she's not very good in the playthrough, but she's very good if she was your wife, if everyone's waifu. I know I am.
Alright then, we're gonna put our Dami Mommy in the A tier too.
Okay.
My thoughts on Lisa. Pretty much she kinda gives like the One-san vibes all the time. And that's kinda why I think she's the Dami Mommy most of the time, of course. And I'd say, her character's also, she's surprisingly smart too. A lot more likable than Jean, that's for sure.
Yeah, I kind of somewhat agreed.
So I think, with all that said, that's kind of what I think about Lisa as a whole.
Right.
Alright, next up is Mona.
Moving on. We got Mona, the astrology caster of Mondstadt. And I gotta say, I really like her design. Not love, but like. First off, she's a 5-star Hydro user, and she is obtainable in the standard banner. And yet, as a Hydro Catalyst, it's alright though. Even though her skill lets you set up an area trap like the rest of them, but they cannot be hit. They're somewhat not versatile as a Hydro user. But her burst actually is kind of alright. You get to deal Hydro damage that surround her. But if you pair it up with pair it with other elements, she can be very useful as a supporter rather than a physical attacker. And yes, Mona has that special ability that lets you drop. Her dashing turns you into water. Just walk through freely without it. It's kind of like the same as Aika, which they can walk very fast, even though they're not. They're kind of like they're somewhat more versatile in the playthrough. Plus getting her to 5-star is somewhat to be easy, but to be fair, Mona is just somewhat a balancer in most every playthrough. Yes, I did watch how her story does, how she does not get along with friends. She does live in an apartment in a Mondstadt, but no players ever gone through her house. And then sometimes that you get to look down deeper with Mona's story, and I gotta be honest, it's kind of a deep hardening in my opinion, and and the relationship between her friends and family are somewhat less complicated as I thought it was, and so most likewise her version of the playthrough is okay. Her backstory is alright, but as design, it looks very good. But I'm gonna put Mona as an A tier below Barbara and Diana. Even though she's a Hydro user, but you get a lot. But I think it's better off to use Barbara on your team as a 4-star Hydro healer. Much better than a Hydro supporter type team.
Okay. Nice. Alright then. My take on Mona. Well, she's very hot. That's all I can probably say about her. I have gotten her recently, and I haven't quite used her as much, but she's really hot. I really like her design. The witch aesthetic to her is also really great too. And judging from the story, she definitely seems kind of a bit introverted, but also kind of passionate about what she does. So I think just from hearing that alone and hearing their characters alone, I think I'm gonna give you, and I know I have a lot of S tiers, but here's another one for you. Mona S tier, just from all that alone. Simping energy for the win.
Alright, moving on. Moving on.
Alright, next up we have the other Dami Mommy who's in charge of the Great Wall of Leeway.
Oh, Ningguan.
Yep, Ningguan.
Well, there are a few times I've seen that I've used it for Ningguan personality-wise. I think her story that she was used to be a poor girl with no money, ever since that she was she doesn't have a good wealthy lifestyle in her past. She doesn't have a good life in her life as a child. But when she discovers Mora, she discovers how much Mora is worth if she was just being the richest girl in Liyue. Yeah, heck, she even built her palace by her ideas, and very early because she was the richest girl in Liyue. Yet, because of the story for Zhongling, she was not much of a ruler. She's kind of like she's the one who could take control of Liyue because Zhongling does not have the responsibility to take over Liyue. So he gives all his priority to Ningguan because she is not because she is wealthy, but she is somewhat to be more reliable to her people in Liyue. But I'm gonna have to say for Ningguan, most story-like-wise, I really like her design. I know that you were described as she's like a mommy-like, but I don't think she's not but to me, she's not much of a mommy-like personality. I don't know if she was not a mom. She was not a mom material, but she's someone like I think around the 20-ish like people. She was just a teenager, and then she much focused on her work as a protecting other people, rather just getting a date around Ningguan. Like, nobody should talk. She talks.
Indeed.
She talks a lot of politics, rather just working on with other people. That's how she is. She may be works in the politics, but she is always who looks up for other people on the top and above all other people in Liyue. So, as for gameplay, otherwise, Ningguan is okay. It's less bad. A Catalyst user is not versatile. Like, she can she fires off Geo like stone crystals, but if you her skill in cast a wall that redirects that attacks range attacks, which is somewhat very useful. But as her burst is not as good. Like, you can summon a throwing stone. Like, if you have increased her stone likewise, she is not much of versatile in a playthrough. Now, yeah. So, but yeah, there's not much else to say about Ningguan's design aspect. But I'm gonna say that Ningguan is, in my opinion, I'm gonna put it as a B tier below Keqing.
Ah, yes. Well, despite being a Dami Mommy material, for me at least, I'm gonna put you around C because I barely use you at all. Alright, next up is Noelle.
Oh, Noelle. I mean, you have discussed Noelle in your reaction, so I'm gonna give it to you first.
Let's see, Noelle. She was one of my first 4-star characters, and I'd say one of my one of my favorite Claymore users out there. There, mostly because her burst skill actually turns into a giant sword and actually slashes enemies. And she also can take damage as well as heal at the same time, I think. And I'd say, I don't know anything about her backstory, but judging from one video I saw, she's definitely very, very passionate maid. And I do like her design too, so I think, overall, I want to say Noelle is A tier.
Okay, that's for your discussion for Noelle. As for me, obtaining Noelle is very much early in the game. She was a starter. She was a primary gacha banner. Like you get Noelle very permanently if you did do the Primogem for tutorial play for earlier players. But to be honest, Noelle's her versatility to play through is pretty moderate. She's a physical sword Claymore user, and she can just decrease your shields, which is very useful if your enemy is a redirect type. But that's only for one time. She can create shields around you, even if you switch. The shield is still going. Plus, her burst is kind of all right. Like she can I don't know what to do with her. I don't. It's not understandable. What does her burst do? She could just hit a lot of crystals that surrounds her. And likewise, Noelle.
I use it as an AOE. When you surround
And then also Noelle, her story as Noelle, her backstory, her story and her hangout. I don't know what's wrong with Noelle. Even though she was a maid and she was a knight, I don't know what's going on in her. Is she gonna work her as a knight, or she works her as a maid outfit? I don't understand how MiHoYo work. How did they create a Noelle despite being both a maid and a knight for Mondstadt? It's just somewhat It's kind of it's like a mixture in between. Even though she's more balancer, and even though she was supposed to be I don't know what her decision will be, and likewise using her is come at a balance. And yes, as you mentioned, that Noelle is a great character, but you have to work well both the offense and defense respectively. Yes, it has increased your shields. Yes, but there's not much else to use Noelle in a playthrough, despite being a Claymore Geo user. So I'm gonna put Noelle in a B tier for Geo. Like using my team as a Geo is not versatile as you might think.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, she has an incredible talent as well. If you're cooking with Noelle, she gets some percentage chance of
I haven't mentioned anything about cooking.
Boosting your defense.
Okay.
But boosting some consumable items for defense is not versatile. If you want to use a player, you much rather go on the offensive side. You better go on the offensive rather than on your defense, as they say. Otherwise. So there's not much else to say about Noelle for being a balancer, so I'm gonna put her as a B tier. I'm sorry, guys.
I see. Alright, next up we have the second or third lolly in our list. The purple-haired girl.
Oh, Chi-Chi. Okay.
Yep.
I don't know what you're saying about calling her a lolly, but she's technically not. First off, Chi-Chi used to be a child, but then she died in that war for 3,000 years. No spoiler alert. But she was resurrected as a zombie. She was living in Liyue for 3,000 years. Even though she was revived as a zombie, her age is still not yet growing. Even though they say they were still young, but she is dead at first. She was a child, yet dead, and then resurrected, and she has an age. So I don't think that people, for me, what I describe her, she is not a lolly. She was a zombie revived, and she doesn't age. And then
That sounds exactly like a lolly.
The reason they describe her as a lolly, if she was a lolly, how come she works in a clinic? That's a job. That's for most people. How would
but you
a
know,
young
though,
girl
Byron,
work in a
did
pharmacy?
you know that lollies barely are also can be described as women who also are ageless too, while being young?
Yeah, ageless. Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's not because Chi-Chi, in my opinion, is not technically a lolly. Even though a lolly is just only underage. But Chi-Chi, in my opinion, she doesn't age. She doesn't grow up. She was revived a zombie because that's why she cast a spell on her. Ever since she became a zombie with a talisman on her head, that's why she was revivable as a zombie. And zombies, I don't think there much else. There's always an explainable behind Chi-Chi's story. Like, do you like cocoa milk? Like that. Yeah.
Sure,
But
yes.
Okay. Yes, I did got Chi-Chi very, very early on. She was a 5-star swords user, and her skill and her burst, it's very fantastic. It's fantastic. I think as a cryo healer is somewhat perfect. If you're not relying on Barbara's healing, then I think it's best off to use Chi-Chi in your party. Plus, she is somewhat tanky as is useful, even though she is young, but she has a very good defense stat otherwise. She is somewhat better than Noelle, but if you want to survive hits, then Chi-Chi would be very, very useful in the playthrough. Plus, her talent, she can be very, very good. She can locate all ascension materials around Liyue, like in a flower grass, and evolves ascension to your units. It's very perfect. If you want to use Chi-Chi in your party, she can be searchable. She can search all around.
Oh, looks like we got some commenters in a take. Papa says, if she's not a lolly, then how come she talks and acts like a child? And Rin's here too.
Oh, Rin, what's up? What's up? So yeah, otherwise, I like Chi-Chi's design aspect. Her voice actor, both English and Japanese, were very fantastic. I'm gonna put Chi-Chi, on the high A tier list. Not because she was asked, but likewise, I like Chi-Chi's respectively. So I'm gonna put her in A tier because I'm defending my honor for Chi-Chi. If anyone else who thinks about my regards for Chi-Chi, you are wrong.
Oh, so much for everything being wrong opinions, huh? Okay then. Alright, since I never used Chi-Chi or know much about her, and there's quite a bit I don't know, I'm just gonna go ahead and fill you in the D tier spot. Only because there's too much I don't know.
It's okay. I understand. It's understandable you put Chi-Chi in on your D tier, but for me, I think she's a better tanker than Noelle is. Plus, not only she get heals, but her burst can revive a unit without you using your consumable items, which is very fantastic if you want to survive more hits than just Chi-Chi.
Right. Yep, that's your take on it, of course. Moving on to Razor.
Okay. Razor, likewise, he's also a 4-star Electro user, and he joins very early in Mondstadt. And yes, I did look up his backstory and plus also his events. How does Razor look up to his parents? And yet, he was somewhat to be a wolf-like that walks around Mondstadt, around the forest, as he did debuts in the game. And yet, it's really understandable for his story. He's not very talkative to other people. He just wants to be cool. He wants to be respected from behind, away from Mondstadt. Okay, he was a Mondstadt. He was born in Mondstadt, but he was somewhat to be better off living in the forest rather than the city. So, as for a gameplay otherwise, I think he's somewhat okay as Electro user Claymore, yet we did as I mentioned with Fischl and Beto, they're very versatile in playthrough. But he's almost somewhat equivalent to Beto, but I think he's even better off using Beto over Razor. And yes, his skills and bursts are good, but not much versatile as I used him in a playthrough. I hardly used him, but I don't have a chance to use him in some of my playthroughs prior to version 3.6. So his story likewise is deep, his appearance is fine, and his viability in the playthrough is somewhat meh. So I'm gonna put him in the B tier over otherwise.
Ah, I see. As for myself, I actually kind of liked Razor's backstory, as well as his design and such. I also did like that he was a Claymore user, of course, and his burst skill was actually really cool too. I haven't used him a ton, and I haven't really built him up quite a bit for him. But I'd say just for his story and such, and all the other stuff I said, I'm gonna put him in B tier as well.
Understandable.
So I think next up here we have Sucrose.
Okay, I'm letting you describe Sucrose first.
Okay, as far as Sucrose goes, the only time I technically got to learn about her was from the card minigame that I played while pretty much getting back into Genshin, but which I'm really behind on Genshin, honestly. That's okay. But yeah, she's very nice, she's very polite, and I think she kind of comes off as one of those characters who doesn't know too much but has the spirit kind of vibes, but that's just my own take on her. So I never kind of used her before in a playthrough, so just for the sake of filling in the C spot, we'll put her in the C spot.
Okay, so that's your opinion for your Sucrose. But for me, I think Sucrose is all right. Then you obtain her very early in the game. Since she's a 4-star animal user. In my earlier playthroughs in the game, Sucrose is very good. Her animal skill and her burst is somewhat very versatile. She's kind of like the attack and support, kind of a mixture between attacker and supporter, and it is very versatile to use an animal on your playthrough if you don't want to use Aether or Lumen on your team. And yet, setting her up, it just seems more viable than just dealing around your enemies, just goes around and changing elements. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you cast an element user, element attack while Sucrose is there, she will change. Her burst can change whatever the attribute it was standing on, an area where it stands. So her viability was amazing. Her design was also amazing. Her story itself is not much gimmicky than it was in the earlier playthrough, an earlier story. First off, she's an alchemic user. She is, I don't know, they're very reasonable. They're very understandable how that she was talks to a lot of people. Yet she is somewhat warm-hearted between people. Even though she discussed her family with her she discussed her story behind it with Cole. Spoilers. And yeah, I did like Sucrose's both viability and her personality and her story. Plus, she's as her viability, but I think as a playthrough, I think Animal Catalyst is okay. You don't often use her as an attacker, but you much rather use her as a skill and her burst, most likely. Otherwise, so overall, I'm gonna put Sucrose in the B tier because I've used her in a playthrough, but as I've gone through from other stories, I have not much else use. I don't have the time to use Sucrose more as I was in the earlier progress in my playthrough.
Okay. Nice. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to, Tartaglia.
Oh, Tartaglia. Oh boy. Okay, I have not much else to say about Child. Otherwise, I'm gonna put Child in a D tier with Kaya and Diluc. I know a lot of you see him around in Leeway. He was a traitor. He was a fun-loving guy who looked up for his brother. Yes, I did watch his story. I did watch his story. Otherwise, he was unlikely, but he's well respected for other people. But he's not much of an evil-looking guy. But he always fights fair, and yet he was somewhat to be more, understand. Not much of complicated user. Just want to talk around in his life. What is the reason why he joined his clan? I don't know. I get that the reason why he joins a clan or a nation, he only wants it because of his brother. He wants to do everything in his power to protect his brother, and they wanted him somewhat to be hero, but yet he's not. He wants to fight honorably, and yeah, that's all I think to say about Child's backstory overall. But using him as a playthrough, there's not much else. I have not much else to use with Child in the story. Yes, I understand that he's a Hydro Archer user, and his skill switches weapon, which is nice. But you don't get to use. But using him as a physical attacker, it has a word of timing. If you can somehow increase his talent, you might have to use him over more physical user rather than just long range attacks and archery. And yes, his burst is somewhat a single use, but that's all there's almost else thing about Child's viability. So I'm gonna put but even though I despise Child because I know a lot of people discuss about Child, so I'm gonna put him in a D tier list. I'm very sorry for many people out there who puts on an A tier, S tier. Like I don't even care of what people say about Child in respective way.
Okay. Nice. As for myself, I'm gonna go ahead and put him on the D tier as well, mostly because of the betrayal. That's all I have to say about that. Alright, next up we have here is Venti.
Venti! Yeah. He's the first 5-star Animo Archer user in
Uh-oh. Discord. Yeah, I'd say Discord's kind of blocking out everything. Yep, now it's like completely mute now. He's not even muted, but we can barely hear him now. Wi-Fi or Tyrant's Wi-Fi. Meanwhile, my Wi-Fi is pretty good.
Oh no!
Did you stream
still
it?
On?
Yep, I'm still on.
Okay. So, okay. Yeah. Okay, there's not much else to say. If you're still not around here because you know you have trouble with your Wi-Fi, but Venti's design is okay. I mean, yes, his skill and burst.
I'd say it's more your Wi-Fi, but I'm still live.
Oh no. My Wi-Fi is still okay though.
Yep, I'm still good, of course, but I can hear you now, though.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna give. Okay, while we're testing, I'm gonna give you the opinions for Venti first.
As far as Venti goes, I have not used him, but I'd say what I do know about Venti, judging from the Archon storyline, is that he symbolizes freedom. It wants everyone to be free and do whatever they want and such. And pretty much spends most of his time trying to repent for his I guess stop the dragon from going apeshit and pretty much destroying Mondstadt. So that's pretty much the extent of my knowledge on Venti's story. But as far as how effective or how good he is as a character, I have not used him, so I have no opinion on that. But him trying to pull him as a bitch, so I kinda will go ahead and put you on the C tier. I like what you stand for, but you're still kind of still mostly femboyish as well as hard to pull for.
Well, I'm gonna put Venti as an A tier list. I know, I understand what he said, but I think his skill and versatile is okay though. I've already discussed about his skill and verse overall, but I do say that Venti is somewhat okay. He's somewhat general. Plus, I think I like his traits though, but I think his traits somewhat equal to Amber, like gliding around your airs, like a long period of time if he was in your team. But yeah, I don't think there's not much else to say about Venti. I really like his design though. His story as an Archon, it's somewhat okay. And if anyone knew about Venti's story, Archon story, please don't look it up. Don't look it up. So yeah. So it's time to move on. I don't want to discuss Venti's otherwise.
Alright, moving on to our next tier list. We have Xiaoming here. Yep, blue hair girl.
Xiaoling!
Xiaoling, yep.
Ah! I hate Xiaoling. I'm gonna put it in the D tier.
I see.
I have not much to say about Xiaoling. I know many people likes him for his sort Osmenta swine. Oh my god. I can't stand his meme around many people. So I'm gonna put him in the B tier for putting him for such many reasons.
Alright, we'll put those two in the B tier as well. Okay. Not much to explain about them, but the girl at least. I kind of like her cooking backstory, so I think I'll put you in the C just for the sake of being nice. Alright, next up we have...
You're talking about Xiaoling?
Yep.
Wait, it's not Xiaoling, it's Xiaoling?
Yep, Xiaoling. I can't pronounce that.
Oh my gosh. I think I made a mistake. I think it's... I can't hear the difference between Xiaoling and Xiaoling. But, okay, what I describe about Xiaoling, that he was a 5-star Geo Archon. Xiaoling was a 4-star Pyro user. Now, I'm sorry for screaming, guys. I haven't confused between the names, but Xiaoling is fantastic. Now, first off, Xiaoling, in my opinion, she is very good. You get to obtain her very early in the Spiral Abyss, and then if you use she's a 4-star Pyro user, and if you increase her constellation very early, she is somewhat fantastic. She is more versatile in the playthrough, and she was very good in the Spiral Abyss as well. Pyro NATO can somehow deal damage around your opponents with Pyro scale, and yet if you increase her talents, her Pyro NATO takes a lot of time to deal around your opponents very early. So
neat.
So yeah, her stories, her events, her design, her story, her hangouts, they're very fantastic. So I'm gonna put Xiaoling in above A tier list, below Amber. And yes, I do enjoy her cooking, like what you said. But her design, her viability was fantastic. But she's not much of a S tier list because you often use Zhang Ling on
what's
more supporter than just attacker. It's like a mixture between. She's a balanced user, but if you use her many often in a playthrough, she is very well in every other ways. So, A tier for me.
Okay. All right, next up we have the blue-haired boy, one of the two of them.
Xiao?
Yep, the one with the short pants.
Oh, I like Xiao respectively. I did get Xiao very early on as he was debut. And I kind of like his backstory though as a Yaksha. If you haven't seen his story as a Yaksha and his backstory why he was sleeping around, he was watching around Liyue for 3,000 years. It's kind of like the same story same as Chi though. Even though he is cursed, but he's not somewhat cursed. He's not somewhat cursed. As a story, likewise, he's not much. He is kind of like a silent type. He doesn't often talk to many people, as I did discuss with other characters that we discussed so far. And then Xiao, in my opinion, it's okay though. I kind of like his cool-looking backside, and yet he's cool, silent, yet very powerful. When I get Xiao in a playthrough, when I tested him, Xiao is very, very usable in a playthrough. His skill and his can dash around opponents, even around if you're flying, or you get this situation where you can drop off the water, somehow survive. There are plenty of surviving ways on how to use Xiao very viable, very easily. Plus, his trait is very good because if you put Xiao on your team, he can reduce your stamina while climbing through higher mountains. If players don't get access to increase your stamina, I think Xiao is somewhat very viable on your team. And likewise, if you're falling while you're using Xiao, his spear, his plunge attack doesn't reduce stamina at all. It doesn't take any damage at all if he's on your team, even your plunging attack. So that's very viable, especially on very higher places if you use him right. So yeah, his story, his viable, his choice as a lancer is fantastic. But I'm gonna put him as above a tier list under Chi. Not because his design was awesome, but I kind of like the deeper meaning behind Xiao's story otherwise. So that said, I'm gonna put him on an A tier list. Oh no, what did you do?
I'll go ahead and put Xiao on the B tier list.
Why?
I haven't used him too much, but I do kind of like his designs and his overall character.
Dear me. Okay, moving on.
Alright, we're just gonna randomly put the other short pants boy here in the D tier list. And I think the next one here is the dark skinned character with the pringtails.
Oh, Shinkyu?
Yep, I believe so.
Yeah, he's a bookworm. He's a librarian-like user. He likes to study around books, and I kind of like his story back well. He describes about his lecturer for his Liyue people. Yet I kind of be understandable of how he was as a librarian. He was a bookworm. He likes reading books in Liyue, and I don't know much else about his story and his hangout sometimes, but I kind of like his voice very well. Even though he was voiced by a girl in both versions, both language, yet he's somewhat good. I kind of like it. The fanboys out there, I'm into ya. And then he is more, and his role as a supporter is okay. You get to summon out swords around it, even though you're switching out, and if your enemies hits you, the swords will just deal your opponent dealing hydro damage. It's good. But if you set up, or if both his skills if you stay around his sword, if you use his skill and burst longer without doing damage, without hitting, it can heal you with some amount of HPs, which is very good. Most likely because after getting him and his increase is constantly 6-star, he is fantastic. Especially if you don't want to rely on Barbara for less healing, you want much rather use him as a supporter. So not only whether his skill burst attacks your opponents, or just heal yourself in the progress. Especially if you use him in a longer as you progress through the story. So Shinkyu otherwise, his design was A, his versatile is an A, and the gameplay was an A. So I'm gonna put A between Barbara and Mona.
Okay, nice. Very nice indeed. Alright, next up we have on our list is the other girl.
Who is that? Xian?
Yep, I think that's her name.
Oh, I love Xinan's design. I love the rocking attitude of Xinlang. She's a rocker in Leeway, but yeah, I kind of like her vibes about singing. Even though she does sing a lot in Leeway, it doesn't like more musician. If I could work in a band, if I would hire Xinyan, she could be cohesive with other nations, like between Mondstadt and Inazuma. Fantastic, just hanging around with her most likely. Otherwise, as for the story, yeah, it's pretty heartwarming for me to know about Xinyan's story. How does she end up becoming a rocker? Yet she was so helping people that she wants to live her life. She wants her dream to become a rocker. She wants to enjoy music all around the nations.
Nice.
And yet somehow there's a lot of controversy behind Xinyan's versatile in the playthrough. Once you get she's a 4-star pyro user, and then she's a 4-star pyro claymore user. She is not much versatile with D-look, but her skill and her viability in the playthrough, it's kind of be troublesome and otherwise. Because yes, her skill can create shields, and a burst can deal AoE pyro user around it. Yeah, that's all there is to think about Xinyan's design. But there's a somewhat between with Xinyan for having her like a bug. I don't know what's her bug all around about. I don't know how this. Why did so many people give a controversy of what Xinyan is? Her ascension, you can ascension her very early in the game, but if you use her in a playthrough, you're gonna have a lot of sometimes using her in a team. Like she was somewhat a balance. Her stat likewise is a balance, but he likes better obvious explorations or walking through. You give her stamina. Yes, she shares the same trait. She shares the same talent as Noelle, increasing your defense items by 12% chance to double your product. But yeah, I don't think she's the queen of all trades. But you don't have the time to use her in a playthrough and so often. Like you can't otherwise you aren't hardly ever use her in a team if you are already sticking with Zhang Ling rather than just Xinyan. Like if you want a Pyro type user in a team, just go with Zhang Ling. But otherwise, if you really like Xinyan's design, her design, I say go for it. But overall, I'm gonna put Xinyan in A tier behind Fischl otherwise.
Okay. Makes sense. Understandable. As for myself, I'd say, judging from the story alone, and the designs alone, I'm gonna go ahead and put you in the A tier list.
Okay, good.
And next up, we have your most hated person's Zhongli.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I scream a lot. I'm sorry that I scream. I'm gonna put it as a D tier. I don't want it. I already described. I don't get the sounding between Zhongling and Jiangling overall. I really apologize for you guys. So any more complaints about Zhongling? Get the heck out. Get the heck away from me. Don't give me that Zhongling looks. So if you like Zhongling, I say go for it. But leave Zhongling away. Leave Zhongling away from me. So as for his story, you know the thing. He was summoned to be the ruler of the Liyue as he did with Ningguan, and yet he is somewhat to be poor. He is the kind of like the discovery of Morak, and his relationship with Morak is more heartwarming. Otherwise, and he's really a responsible guy. He can be responsible. He was working around the people of Liyue, and yeah, I think so. And as for my hatred for Zhongli, I've seen many people use Zhongli in a playthrough. He's a defensive user, and as I mentioned, I rather much more offensively rather than on the defense side. His burst skill was actually fantastic. It's most versatile in most of their parties, but I don't have plans to use him at all. I don't like him, and Zhongling is great for playthroughs, but me pulling him is not worth it. I'm gonna put him as a D tier list. I'm sorry, guys. I know you guys like Zhongling otherwise, but I don't have no plans for getting Zhongling on my team ever.
Okay then. All right. As for myself, I'd say, judging from the entire Liyue story, I really like him as a character. I enjoyed his story. I never used him and almost never got to pull for him at all. But I'd say, this is another for story reasons, I'm gonna put you on the A tier list. And that's pretty much all I'll have to say on that. Alright, next up is Rosaria.
Oh, Rosaria, okay! I know a lot of people listen from Rosaria. She's the hot sister of Mondstadt. She used to grow up in the wolves in the mountains of the snowy mountains of Mondstadt. And yes, I really love both her voice acting, both Maxwell and Ai Kakuma. As I mentioned earlier, as you seen post around on my Instagram stories, I did met Ai Kakuma in Overlord NZ, and my understandable for meeting Rosaria was amazing. I really liked her design was awesome. Her design looks great. Her story behind her, how did she become the sister of Mondstadt? Like, she doesn't care what she doesn't. Her philosophy as becoming a sister that they don't have to pray to God, but they have to pray for themselves. That's what her story is. Even though she grows up differently as Barbara is, and even though she's a 4-star cryo user, it is really fantastic. Like, she can just backstory, she can hit around surrounding areas, but as her burst, she is quite very, very good. Her burst can summon out spirit that deals cryo damage if the enemy steps on it. And then what's more interesting is that Rosaria's talent, she can run very fast if you're running it through nighttime. That's what it is, the time story though. That's how the game time zone is, the daylight time is. Because if you want to use Rosaria in a playthrough, her attack speed increases if she was in the nighttime. Like, it was the backstory for Rosaria. And I really like Rosaria's story, and I really like overall, I really like her story and her design. I did met the voice actor; it was really fantastic, and I wish that I really want to get Rosalia more viable as I did with Aika though. So overall, Rosalia in it as her
Okay. Alright, I don't know much about Rosaria. But I really like her design as well as her character aesthetic. As well as the, being a combat nun as she kind of is. I'd say from her design and appearance alone, I'm gonna go ahead and put Rosaria on the B tier list. Right here.
Well, yes. She doesn't talk too much in Mondstadt, but she often spending her time going in a pub, remember? Yeah. And she enjoys drinking, likewise, but she drinks responsibly. Yet, she's still matured, guys. Drink responsibly, everyone.
Yep, let's keep that in mind, folks. Don't do drugs.
Yes. That's right. Okay, let's move on.
Alright, next up we have Ilu here. Or, don't know how to pronounce her name.
Elude or Elui.
Elui, okay.
There's not much else to say about Liui's design though. I mean, yeah, she is very hot, but I don't know. She is very good with design. I kind of like it. I like how they given her very good dancing, and the 3D model looks awesome. Yet they have really enjoyed her. I mean, when she debut in Genshin Impact, her views has been a lot. Not because her animation looks fantastic. Not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
But getting Eula, I don't know that there's not much else to plan of getting Eula so far. Yes, I did look up to. I read her story arc was how she is somewhat complaint about her family. How did she become a member of the Mondstadt even though she has some time with her family, and yet she's somewhat more responsible for the knights, and she is so well. She went quite honorably in her own ways, but for me, it's very reasonable to like Yule as a character. Likewise, but however, I did not get her as a 5-star because just pulling her is unwell for me to get. I mean, her traits, her skill, and her ability was amazing, but I'm gonna put Eula in below C tier with Klee and Jean.
Okay. Okay, as for me, I'm gonna go ahead and put you on about B tier. Yips.
So, even though she is a private user, you got a lot of options private user there. You're using Aika and Gun you respectively. I do have a lot of options for being her private user or anymore user. Like you can make between Aika and Ada respectively. You're gonna just be better off with any you putting you as a team. So I'm thinking that way.
I see. Okay, understandable.
Okay.
Alright then, I think next up we have Mrs. Law. Well,
who's Mrs. Law?
I call her that as a nickname that she talks about.
Yanfei.
Yanfei, okay.
She talks about politics. I know. She talks about how she talks about laws and other and other things. Like even when she was more kind of like and complicated about what the people want to buy or something what she thinks about pricing overall. But as her story and her hangout, it's alright though. It's kind. I really like Yanfei's personality. I really like her attitude less, but as a 4-star Pyro Catalyst, it's very easy to managing. Yet, her as a Pyro Catalyst is okay. Her skill, okay. I do not remember her skill though, but I do know that her burst can casting out pyro on AoE damage as long as every time she stores all her pyro stones behind her. And yeah, that's all as much as to say about Yanfei's viability. But as a design, she is very cute. I'm not gonna lie. But
Yep, very
so many
cute.
people complain about her design. She is somewhat to be a teenager. I think she's around 17 or 19, but I'm not sure what's her true age true age about it. But to be likewise, Yanfei, in my opinion, she's somewhat to be a much teenager. I think around 18, somewhat. But she's kind of. It's very okay for her to date her if she was your waifu. But
Yep.
there's a lot of complaints about her Yanfei as a character design likewise. So I'm gonna put Yanfei as an A tier behind Barbara.
Okay, makes sense. Alright then, I'll go ahead and put Yanfei around the... I'll go ahead and put her around A tier as well.
Alright. Yes. Have you tried to use a Pyro Catalyst user? Have you tried using a Pyro Catalyst?
No, I've not, apart from Klee.
Okay. less reasonable, but let's move on.
Yips. Alright folks, we're pretty much getting close to the Inazuma characters, and Sumiru characters, which I know little to nothing about. And by that I mean nothing at all. So, next up is Kuzuha here.
Kuzuha. I know you don't know about the story about Inazuma, but I care about Inazuma. If I'm the people who can travel from the game, I really most likely to stay in Inazuma, in my opinion. So I'm gonna leave my description behind for Inazuma because I know more about story as you have with Mondstadt and Liyue. So first off is Kazuha, and likewise I like his story otherwise. He is a 5-star, he's a wanderer in Inazuma, and his story behind scene, he fights along, he wants to fight around the people inside, what he wants to believe in, but his backstory is less sad. He already lost a friend once, but then because of his backstory, he gets enough power to protect other people in Inazuma. And yet, he's very cooperative with Beidou, as they were fighting alongside together otherwise. But him as a 5-star user is okay. They often used him in the Spiral Abyss, and they use him in other event stages where he does feature in. So his skill and burst were fantastic. They're more likable to use him in a playthrough, but his design is okay though. They say that he's somewhat likable with the twins, but I did definitely think that he is somewhat moderate in my opinion. So I'm gonna put Kazuha in B tier overall.
Alrighty then. I'll go ahead and put Kazuha. I guess just for his designs alone, you know what, the S tier is kind of looking a bit lonely, so you know what, we'll put you in the S tier just for your designs alone.
Don't worry, I'll leave the Inazuma story for you. I'll leave the Inazuma for you to want to know about all the characters of Inazuma. Just leave them the rest to me.
Alright then, no problem.
So next up is Yoimiya. I know they say that everyone's waifu Yoimiya. I don't know, guys. I'm not much of a Yoimiya fan out there. I mean, yeah, I've seen a lot of artworks for Yoimiya for being cute, hot, and sexy, but more likely because she's a 5-star pyro archer, kind of like Amber. But
Yep.
but her is a usable. But getting her is not usable. If you want to use a 4-star, you already have a 4-star pyro archer like Amber, but her likewise her skill and burst not kind of reasonable in the playthrough because her skill, yes, you want to turn your normal attacks to just pyro attackers, and it's very fine. But but using her as an archer will be hard for you to be viable in a playthrough. Yes, you get to use Yoimiya in the events and Spiral Abyss, but you're not gonna have a fun time using Yoimiya as a primary attacker and supporter. And yet, if you want to go explore around, if you're gonna explore around Inazuma, you'll explore around the world around Genshin Impact. You'll more likely prefer using Amber over Yoimiya. So its design was great. Her viability is less bad, but her story was awesome. So I'm gonna put Yoimiya in A tier list. More viable, I know, but I don't get. Okay, I gotta put tier list. Put B on a tier list behind Keqing and Ningguang.
Alright, judging from that description, we'll put you into our A tist, and you pretty much maxed out our entire A tier list.
It's okay.
No problem, no problems. Alright, next up is the other girl.
Oh, you're talking about Sayu, right?
Sayu, yep.
Cute looking Sayu from Inazuma. She hides around Inazuma looking for undercovering. Yeah, I really like Sayu's design. She's very cute. She's what kind of moderated around playthroughs. I know that Sayu was the voice actor of Lily, who was she was a primary voice actor in my opinion, and I gotta say I really love her voice otherwise. And I really enjoy Sayu around her. Plus her skill, she can just roll around all around it without tiring. Like if you don't want to consume your stamina, you can just use her just to roll around and just do the rolling for you.
Yep,
and her
the
burst
beautiful
was
sonic roll.
Fantastic. Huh?
Yep, the beautiful sonic roll right there. Spin dash.
Yeah. Spin dash, yeah, spin dash. It's very cute. It's much better off. She has more you like her skill more than just running on her own. So, as for the burst, it's very versatile in every playthroughs. So using her burst will not only deals you animal damage, but also you can regenerate. It creates a healing circle around it. So it's more you can just if you were kind of like a mix between Barbara and Diona, I think Sayu will be much very good if you don't get access to Jean. She's a 4-star Claymore user, and you want to use both her skill and her burst. You're gonna have a very good time, very good time of obtaining Sayu. She's a 4-star, and you can increase her constellation very easily, and more likely for her story, it's good. Her backstory is somewhat okay. Even though she is a small girl, but she has a problem with her growth. Even though she's still growing, but she hasn't grown a lot. So, Sayu, overall, from what I say prospectively about Sayu, I'm gonna put her as an A between Xiangling and Amber.
Okay. Alright, as for my own personal ranking for you, Sayu, you get the S tier list.
Oh, wow! Okay. Yeah. I tier it. S. Okay.
Yep. I have played with her a bit. She's as far as what I've seen so far, she's probably one of the faster Claymore users out there. And the nice little roll is really cute, as well as a nice way to get around without burning through stamina. So I'd say for exploration and versatile, or just basic gameplay without all the super deep stuff, she's really good to use. That's all I'll say about that.
Okay. All right.
Alright, moving on is, I don't know why they have two pictures of Kazuha on here.
No, let's ignore that. I've seen it. I've used it on the share list before. I've seen that pic before. Let's move on.
And here we have Raiden here.
Ah! Raiden Shogun! My favorite of the Archon female. She is a hot. I'm gonna put her at, okay. From what I've screened, Raiden Shogun is probably one of my favorite of the Archon characters. She's a 5-star, she's a hot lady, and she's the ruler of Inazuma. Yet, I know about her story and her backstory as I progress in the Inazuma story. Raiden Shogun is probably one of the most very powerful unit in the game so far. Yes, her skill and her burst was fantastic. You can just increase her power if she's around your party. If you switches out, her skill was just deals you a lot of electro damage, even though there's or electro behind her chakra or something. And yet, just like otherwise, I think the Raiden Shogun's design was very fantastic, and also her burst was so good. She's kind of like Child in general. Like she can transform her pole arm into a sword wielding quick sword that deals a lot of pyro type electro damage, which is really fantastic if you want to use a weapon changer. It's very good. I really love Raiden Shogun overall, but the thing is about me getting Raiden Shogun in my playthrough was just annoying. Raiden Shogun is probably one of the hardest 5-star units you got in the game. Yeah? Wait, hold on. I'm just gonna mute for a second. Wait, I'm just gonna mute for a second. Oh.
Okay.
Oh, yes?
Yips.
Sorry about that.
Yep, no problem.
Oh, sorry. I'm just talking. Someone. Okay. Sorry. What are you saying?
Oh, nothing. I was just listening in.
Oh, sorry. I don't know. Shut up. Okay. Oh.
Nice.
Right. Okay. Back to Raiden Shoguns. Likewise. Okay. What do we start about? We should.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sorry for another conversation going on. So yeah, I think Raiden Shogun overall is really fantastic, and I also like her ability though. Her traits is okay. I think if you can increase her talents, she can be more viable if you really good, more versatile in the play, more versatile. Plus her traits is somewhat good. If you are planning to increase the swords and pole arms, you can reduce them more to just 50% if you are increasing your sword and pole arms, which is fantastic. I kind of like to see. From what of this disturbation whatsoever, getting 5 stars is just annoying. Like every time she just do her debuts and reruns, her 5 stars just annoying. How many times I I just wanted to get Ride Shogun on my team, but her gacha rate is just so low. I don't even get a chance to just to summon her 5 stars. Yet I know she's very popular, but me getting her to 5 stars, it's just strange. It's just ridiculous. And I know a lot of people loves Ride Shogun, but to me, it's just hard. It's just hard getting. So likewise, her design, her story, her gameplays was still good, but getting her was just bad. So I'm gonna put Raiden Shogun Shogun behind Lisa and Venti. I know I really love her so much, and I didn't get her more easily. I know I get a lot of reruns sometimes, but I need to take some more time to grind up more privileges just to get her around.
Alright then, I'd say we'll go ahead and put Raiden here on the S tier list. Yep.
Okay.
Power of simping, folks.
Jeez. Next.
Alright, next up is the short-haired girl with the pony mask, it looks like.
I don't know who you're referring to, but as I see through, she is Sara Kujo. She's the ruler of the commission. Yes, let's go. She is the commissioner of the Kujo. She is one of the few people who works in the Kujo commissioner. She kind of like Ning Guan, but she rules around Inazuma, in my opinion. And I don't have much else to get Sara Kujo very easily because getting more early on because her and Raiden Shogun are just still annoying. Like getting her to 4-star is fine, but using her playthrough, I really want to use her in the playthrough, but me getting her as a 4-star was just it's just more annoying as I thought it would be. Yes, she's an electro archer unit like Fisho, but if you really want Sara, it's very good, but you're more likely prefer using Fisho over Sara if you use her stats otherwise. So yeah, I really love her design. Likewise, her story, yes, great. Likewise, but she's a Tengu, and I do like the Tenju. I like the Tenju growing her wings. It's just great. I really wanted to pick her, but as I progressed in the gameplay for my Genshin Impact playthrough, it's just hard for me to get her otherwise. So I'm gonna put Sara in between Raiden Shogun to A.
Alright, I'll go ahead and put you on the B tier list.
Okay.
Alright, next up we have Kokomi here.
Kokomi! Okay. I like Kokomi's design. Yeah, okay. Me getting Kokomi's 5-star, she is also a 5-star Hydro Catalyst. And she is... I'm sorry for the disturbance. She's a 5-star Catalyst user. She's a healer, and she is the princess of the ruler of Inazuma. She was in the southeastern. She was in the southern island of Inazuma, and where she just bubbles around her. Yeah, I kind of like her. She's a ruler, and she was she's a reader. And likewise, she enjoys reading like AI Miko, which is pretty fantastic in my opinion. But me getting her 5-star is quite good. But her skill and birth likewise is somewhat complaining or not versatile, not viable. First off, her skill is good. She can summon a jellyfish that gradually increase her HP, and it's very good because if she summons out, you can switch out. It can recover her HP if you don't use consumable items. And as her burst is okay, it's not not much viable if you want to use her under as a primary source, as a primary attacker. Kokomi, she will deal damage as long as depending on the HP you gain. So if you want to use Kokomi in a playthrough, it's very great. The thing is about Kokomi is that I really like her English voice actor rather than her Japanese voice actor.
Yips. Understandable.
Yeah, and also if you use another fun fact about Kokomi is that if you use her burst skill, she can just walk through water for a period short amount of time, which is kind of hilarious, and also it's kind of already, good. It's good
nice.
overall. Yes. Plus, there are some good traits as well because unlike Beidou, she can reduce your swimming stamina by 20%. So if you want to use so if you don't have Beidou, I think using Kokomi is just fine. You can just reduce your swimming stamina by 20% without drowning. So if you use her on your team, and you can't stack up between Beidou and Kokomi because their skills are quite the same. So if you use either Kokomi or Beidou, you have a less chance of not drowning yourself in the water.
Okay.
And plus, her playability is not good. It's not good. So she focus on she's a healer and you don't want to have her as you don't want to stack up your critical rates because she relies on healing rather than just attacking your enemies. So overall, I wanted her to put it in the A tier, but only because for one reason that I don't like Kokomi the most was her voice actor. I really like Kokomi's voice actor, but I don't like Kokomi's Japanese voice actor. I really just don't like it. I prefer her English language. I prefer her English rather than her Japanese overall. So I'm gonna put Kokomi overall as a B tier because it's very good in the playthrough if you want to use a healer, and I think it's better off to use Barbara. But if you want Kokomi the most, you can use Barbara instead. But you can get her. But if you somehow get her as a 5-star, you can just stick with Barbara as you always do.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I went ahead and put her in the B tier list as well.
Okay.
All right. Next up is a character that I do know about, and this is Aloy here from the Horizon series of games.
Oh no! No one. When we get to hear Aloy in a playthrough for Genshin Impact from a Horizon, I don't think there's not much else to say about Aloy's design. I don't know.
Automatic D tier for me.
Yeah, great. Okay, I'm gonna C tier because I kind of like Aloy's animated design. I really appreciate how the design gave Aloy some 3D ones to make her some kind of like a younger animated version rather than 3D version like she was in the other games. But I do appreciate Aloy for being a 5-star cryo user. Now this was before if anyone doesn't get access to Ganyu in the game. Like if the player doesn't have a Ganyu in the game as a 5-star, you can get Aloy as a 5-star cryo archer user. Even though her constellations were locked because she's a collaboration character, but if you want to use her as a cryo archer, it's well worth of using her.
Oh, looks like I triggered Jose. Nice. Yips.
Okay.
All
so
right.
Overall, you pick Aloy as a D tier, but I'm moving Aloy to C tier because of her design aspect. But not much else people didn't get Aloy, doesn't know about her story.
Right. Of course,
Okay.
my take on Aloy is that she, even though as a collaboration character, she has no reason to be in Genshin at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that.
I do appreciate Alloy a little bit.
Her design is
Next
pretty
up.
nice, though. Of course,
Uh-huh.
next up is our blonde Oni boy.
Who's the Oni boy here?
Yep, he's the blonde guy who has the black horns.
Oh,
Yeah.
Toma, right?
Yep, Toma.
Oh, I really appreciate Toma's design. Okay, first off, he wasn't really living in Inazuma overall. He was used to be a citizen of Mondstadt before he heads up to Inazuma just to work for the Kamisato clan. Yes, he did run through a shop, and he used to be a fine-looking guy. Yet he was very enjoyable, within talking a lot to his friends. Very appreciable. He really likes to clean a lot. He was doing well with Aika, in my opinion. But Toma is okay. He was really good. His design is also amazing. But if you enjoy his story with his hangout, if you enjoy his story, his backstory, his hangout, you get more likely to attach Toma alongside with other guys from Inazuma. Yes, he is a 4-star Pyro Lancer unit, and you got a lot of options for having that same class, the same type as Zhangling and Xinyang. Or as we discussed so far with the Pyro type user, you much rather go better off with other 4-star earlier 4-star character Pyro users rather than just obtaining Toma very just likely late in the game, somewhat late. But both his I did not more gameplays. Otherwise, I do not use Toma once I obtain him early. Yes, I did get him in the gacha pool, but I don't have the time to use him in the playthrough because I think I'm much better off rather than an earlier 4-star rather than just obtaining a newer 4-star units. And then likewise, I don't have not much attached about Toma, yet he is really good. He was a very kindable guy. He wants to enjoy his time in Inazuma, but I don't want to discuss about what he was doing. I don't get to use him otherwise. So overall, I'm gonna put Toma in B tier behind Noel and Ningguan. Likewise.
Okay. Alright, I'll go ahead and put you in the C tier list, Toma.
Mm-hmm.
I really like your design. I have not used you and I don't know much about your story, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt once we eventually get to Inazuma. But for now, you're a C. Alright, next up is our other horned boy right here. Probably the most Aragaki, yep.
He is the member of he's a gang member from Inazuma, and I kind of idiotic side of him. Now, first off, he's not bad as Zhangling because Zhangling is getting smarter is leeway, but for him, Arataki is somewhat an idiotic character, but I really love the fun-looking guy who wants to hang around cost a lot of people in Inazuma, but I don't think he was not that much of a lousy, what is this this world? He's not much of a not much of pranks. I don't know. There's not a word that describes him, but he caused a lot of troubles in Inazuma, but people say they love him. They do enjoy a lot of, and he loves entertaining other people. Yet, even though they do a lot of troubles, but they're very much responsible. They do much responsible for his gang, as if he was more like he was likely treated his members as friends and families, as he meant he just talks around the Kujo clan as Sara, even though they work long together since they live in Inazuma, but they look fine with it. Even though Sara already she knew that he's the one who took a lot of responsible. He do causing trouble things, but he can deal with his stuff very fine. He's more responsible as he progress or his life is. He gets more responsible. He's willing to do gains. He needs to have responsibility in his work. So his story and backstory otherwise, he's very good. It's very understandable for his life. He wants to enjoy his time with his family, his real life family, and then he grows up playing Beatles, which I do not play Beatles in real life, but yet I do adore I adore his lifetime as if he's not care idiotic guy, if you want to talk around his story. So otherwise, he is a very good, very funny idiotic character in the game. He's So as for versatile in the playthrough, he's a 5-star Claymore user. As we discussed Noel, I think he's a Claymore user like Noel, right?
Of course, yep.
Yeah, and if you want to use attacker, I think he's your best bet for having a Claymore user team. He's much of an attacker rather than just your offensive side. Like if he uses his burst, he can deal geo damage around it. He's kind of rushed through enemies, unlike Noel's AoE circling blade. And likewise, I really want to use in the playthrough, but to me, I did not get to use him because he's a 5-star, and getting him was just less annoying than Raiden Shogun is. So overall, I'm gonna put Ito on the B tier on top of Aether. Not because he's very looking his design, the story's aspect, but getting him to 5-star was less annoying, but I really want to use him in the playthrough somehow.
Alright then, I'll go ahead and put Aragaki here in the S tier list.
Whoa! Why do you put him in an S tier? Give me a reason.
I'd say mostly because I like his design for the most part. And I also kind of liked what you described to his goofy attitude but always means well kind of thing. I'd say those are good enough reasons for me.
Okay, alright. But if you really wanted to use Aragaki Ito in the game, I say go for it. But if you really want to if you prefer not to use Noel in your team, I think you should. If you want a physical attacker, I think you should go with Ito for a better attacker than Noel. Even though she is focused on defense, while Ito focuses on attacker. And as I mentioned earlier, I really want a physical attacker. Like what we discussed so far in the stream earlier, most of the Geo teams were actually focused on defense, and Ito is the only 5-star Geo. Is the only Geo unit that does not focus on defense. You just go on offensive like otherwise. So yeah, that's all much else to say about Ito's otherwise. So if you want a physical attacker, just go with Ito. Trust me on it. Trust me on for him pulling it. It's well worth of pulling him someday, and I really want to get him someday.
All right.
Okay, let's move on.
All right, this will be pretty much the last one for me because I gotta go ahead and order dinner for the family. So we'll make this my last ranking.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, now we have Catboy here.
Oh, Goro. Okay, I'm gonna put him in a C tier. I don't know much else about him.
Okay then. I'll go ahead and put you in the C tier list as well. Really like your design though.
Yeah. All right, I think that's about the end half of the tier list we so far, I guess.
Yep. All right then, folks. I think now's a good time to go ahead and end the stream right here. Yep, we're pretty much
Yeah.
about 3 hours in.
Yeah. Okay. If you're watching on Terrace stream, I would like to say thank you for having me around there. It's pretty much fun.
Yep, no problem. I'm glad you had a lot of fun. I also had a lot of fun too. So yeah, folks, I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being here. If you enjoyed today's stream, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more streams in the future, as well as follow me on Twitter for stream updates, as well as random posts there. Also, you can join a Discord as well for exclusive emotes that you won't be able to use on YouTube till we get to 1K subs and get monetized. Let's make that happen, please, this year. And you can also follow me on Twitch as well.
Also follow me on Twitch on Tyron G. I've been doing a streaming right now, but because I'm still on the holidays and my working time will be much later on. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to continue working with the Twitch somehow. If I do have the time to fix through other gimmicks with the Twitch, like I'm still a beginner, like my guys. So yeah. Thank you for having me here. So be sure to follow me on Twitch. I'm still streaming right now on my Twitch playthrough.
Yep, go ahead and check out all his links, folks. They're in the description.
Yeah, thank you for so much here, and I think that's all for the stream. Right, that's all the end of your stream now. So see you guys. Thank you so much for your support.
Yep, and I'll see you guys next stream.
Later.
Oh, I guess I'll just have to end here.